Hello and welcome back to Brewer's Bastion, your weekly stop for boss fights, monsters, and lore that will keep your players coming back for more. Today, we're leaving behind traditional monsters for a boss fight with a humanoid opponent, an Archpriest gone bad, whose incredible spellcasting is troublesome, but whose impregnable defenses will make your players pull their hair out. So, without further ado, let's jump in and see what this sinister spellcaster can do. Archpriest Anuk was a main boss in the last campaign I ran, ostensibly a cleric of Kelemvor who had risen to the rank of Archpriest in a theocratic empire. In truth, he worshipped a different god of death, Merkel, and was slowly corrupting the Kelemvorian clerics with insidious changes to the dogma. I ran Anuk in an ancient Egyptian-themed setting, but he works anywhere that you need a cleric gone bad. A big thing that I have noticed at some of the tables that I play at is that magic items looted from enemies don't play as large a role as I would expect from items of that caliber. So, while a nuke is powerful in his own right, I really wanted to make the magic items that he was holding shine. So, they're extremely well adapted to his build. I'll get into their abilities a little bit more as we cover his stat block, but here's a plug for all of you DMs out there. Make those magic items matter. But do be warned, if the magic item really annoys your party when they fight against it, it's sure to do the same when they actually possess it. You've been warned. These items aren't for the faint of heart on either side of the table. Let's check out Anuk's stat block. Anuk is a medium humanoid, built to be a surprisingly tanky spellcaster. He's got an AC of 18 from plate armor and 136 hit points, which isn't extremely high for a CR 14 monster, but more than enough once you factor in his many defensive traits. His ability scores are stacked in mental stats, with Wisdom 20, Intelligence 18, and Charisma 19, making him dangerous in both magic and social encounters. Defensively, he comes loaded with goodies. He resists both necrotic and radiant damage, and is also immune to being charmed and frightened, so you can't just charm or spook him into submission. Add in dark vision and a passive perception of 19, and he's not going to be caught off guard easily. But the real danger comes from his special traits. First, Arcanite resistance. This means that the first time each day he fails a saving throw against an enemy, he just succeeds instead. So that clutch, hold person, hypnotic pattern, or disintegrate spell? Don't count on it working the first time. This is a little adjustment to normal legendary resistances, where it works once per opponent per day, rather than just a simple 3 times per day. Sometimes that holds him back, because the wizard's second spell gets him, but often it ends up being more powerful than other legendary resistances, particularly if you're running games for parties including 4 or more players, each of which he's guaranteed to resist at least once. This resistance is based on a special material that was a major plot point in the campaign I was running, a mineral called Arcanite that naturally enhances the wielder's magical prowess. It shows up in a few more spots within Anuk's stat block, so we'll cover those as well. First, we'll go into some other abilities, though. His warded ability makes him incredibly hard to kill. The first time he'd hit 0 hit points each day, he drops to 1 hit point instead, and can instantly cast Heal as a reaction if it's available, healing himself for a full 70 hit points. Basically, this party has to take him down twice. On top of that, every time he casts a spell of first level or higher, his Staff of Searing Sunlight automatically grants him the effects of the Sanctuary spell until his next turn, making him harder to target directly unless you break through that ward. For those who need a little refresher, this first level Cleric spell, which I think is in the running for one of the best spells in the game at first level, forces any creature that targets the creature under its effects to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, they have to either change their target or simply lose the attack and do nothing with their action. The spell breaks when the warded creature attacks or casts a spell, but since the mystical staff Anuk carries refreshes the sanctuary's duration every time he casts a spell, there's no need to worry about that clause when you're running him. When running Anuk as a DM, sling all the spells you want, knowing that every time you cast a spell, you're bolstering your defenses significantly. outright stopping many of the low wisdom martial classes from attacking you at all. All of this together makes him one of the most survivable casters you'll ever pit against a party. Now, let's talk spells, because this is where Anuk gets scary offensively. He's a 12th level spellcaster with Wisdom as his casting stat, so his save DC is 17 and his attack modifier is +9. His cantrips include Chill Touch, Toll the Dead, and Vicious Mockery, but thanks to Arcanite empowered cantrips, they're far deadlier than normal. His cantrips roll 2 extra damage dice and can target an additional creature, making them far more efficient than simple low-level filler. Now, let's move down his spell list. At lower levels, he's got some control and some power with Inflict Wounds, Guiding Bolt, and of course, Spiritual Weapon. Mid levels give him Spirit Guardians, Banishment, and Sickening Radiance. That spell is nasty if you can't get out of it. At higher levels, he brings out Anti-Life Shell to shut down melee attackers, Flame Strike for area damage, and Harm for massive single-target nukes. And on top of all of those, he has once per day heavy hitters, Sunbeam, Heal, and even an 8th level Sunburst that doesn't cost him a spell slot. So, you're looking at a caster who can deal heavy area damage, control the battlefield, and still keep himself alive with healing and solid defenses. Beyond spells, Anuk also wields the Staff of Searing Sunlight. On a melee hit, it deals solid radiant damage, 1d10 +6, but the real kicker is the save. On a failed con save, the target suffers the effects of the Ray of Enfeeblement spell. It's a nasty debuff to tack onto a basic attack, especially if he wants to weaken frontliners between spell uses. But honestly, you're just going to be casting spells most of the time with this fella. And of course, as a boss monster, Anuk has legendary actions, letting him act outside of his turn. He gets 3 per round, and they give him huge flexibility. His move legendary action lets him reposition up to half his speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Great for avoiding being locked down or getting out of the area of effect for nasty spells. His Arcanite cantrip ability lets him cast one of those empowered cantrips for 2 legendary actions, or a normal cantrip for just 1, meaning he can keep pressure on the party throughout their turns. Just be careful when casting this because it will break the effects of that sanctuary. And then, yet another solid defensive option, Negate. When he takes damage, he can use his reaction plus 2 legendary actions to reduce that damage to just 1. Too bad for your paladin that just rolled a crit on their smite, but it's not going to do much. Combined with his other defensive features, this makes him incredibly hard to burst down. So, that's Archpriest Anuk, a cleric-style boss who mixes overwhelming magic, layered defenses, and punishing legendary actions. He's not just a caster, he's a test of endurance and coordination for any adventuring party. And once he's defeated, there's a few delightful goodies waiting for the players in the form of some nice magic items. The Staff of Searing Sunlight and a Greater Arcanite Crystal. The staff allows its attuned wielder, who must be either a cleric or a druid, to cast Daylight, Sunbeam, or Sunburst by expending charges, and also comes with the forementioned defensive buff of granting its wielder the effects of Sanctuary whenever they cast a spell using a spell slot. The Greater Arcanite Crystal is what remains of an Arcanite pendant Anuk wears during the fight, and is a limited use but powerful item. While holding the Greater Arcanite Crystal, you can treat any one spell that you cast as if it were cast using a 9th level spell slot, while still only expending the lowest level slot for that spell. It's an extremely powerful one-use item that can give your players a necessary edge at a pivotal moment, if they are willing to use it. After all, its magic is exhausted after a single use, so they'd better not waste it. It's a perfect item for thematic moments and will make the scene in which it is used all the more epic. So, there you have it. A terrifying boss battle with some delightful goodies at the end, if the party manages to survive. And don't forget, you can team up Anuk with other monsters for an even deadlier combat. Let me know how you intend to use this sinister spellcaster in your campaign or one-shot in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single monster. And if you want full stat blocks for Anuk, his magic items, and all of my other homebrew, head on over to Patreon and join the Bastion. That's it for this week. Until next time, may your wit be as sharp as your sword.